Africa Desk Live with your host, Semantics King Jr.
Beauty, everything so exalted. You need to see my baby so exalted. Everything she do so interesting. I never can take my mind off her. Mama Africa, Mama Africa. Let me take you to Togo, Ghana, Ethiopia, Uganda, Nigeria. Oh Nigeria, oh Mama Africa, yeah. The love and peace is so exalted. It's so exalted. Yeah. Let me take you to Africa, Mama. Mama Africa. Mama Africa. Mama Africa. Africa. Cause it's not beauty, my baby gets her. Lando, they get her. The land is so green. The land is too green, you can feel the wind in your face. You see the birds in the sky, the waters in the valley. You can feel the perfect smile. You can see the crystals in the water. You can see the highest mountain. Reach out, you go feel them. If you reach out, you go touch them. Africa, Africa, yeah. The love and peace is so exalted. It's so exotic, yeah. Let me take you to Africa, Mama. Mama Africa, Mama Africa, yeah. Mama Africa, Africa. Cause if not
To everyone, welcome right now. Everyone watching me live from anywhere around the world, whether you are in Lagos or London, Nairobi or New York, Accra or Atlanta, Johannesburg, sister cities around the world, Dakar or Dallas, Monrovia or Minneapolis, Cairo or Copenhagen, or anywhere else on this planet where an African heart is beating. I'd like to say welcome to the Africa Desk Live. This platform, this space was built for you, not for governments, not for donors, not for foreign interest, but you, the African citizen, the African professional, the African student, the African mother and father, the African child, the African dreamer who loves this continent, even when this continent breaks your heart. I'm Semantics King, your host, and this is the Legacy segment, chapter 2 of 4. We are waiting for our guest to join us. Welcome to the show. I think we had earlier had him on. We may be experiencing some technical difficulties with him on the show. Let me see quickly here. Welcome to the show. Everyone. I'm just trying to get my my guest in the show here. Give me a minute here. Joseph, if you can hear me, if you are around, I saw you in the studio earlier, but right now I don't see you there. So, okay. So while I'm trying to get Joseph into the studio, I'd like to welcome you all to the show. And I am going to drop a comment in the chat section for everyone to be aware you know, of what is going on. So yes, please be aware of our expectations of the audience, those who are going to be participating in the program later on through chat. Please be aware that we respect all opinions. We value fact-based, respectful debate. Please follow our code of conduct: no hate speech, no misinformation, respect for each and every one of us. I am still waiting for my guest here. I have not been able to actually get him into the studio. Give me a minute here, friends. So, Joseph, if you're there, I am not getting you. I'm not getting you into the studio. They may be having some difficulties there. So, I'm going to play some music for you while we try to sort that.
Beauty, everything so exotic. You need to see my baby so exotic. Everything she do so interesting. I never can take my mind off her. Mama Africa, Mama Africa. Let me take you to Togo, Ghana, Ethiopia, Uganda, Nigeria. Oh Nigeria, oh Mama Africa, yeah. The love and peace is so exotic. It's so exotic, yeah. Let me take you to Africa, Mama. Mama Africa, Mama Africa, yeah. Mama Africa, Africa. Cause it's not beauty, my baby gets her. Land, they get her. The land is so green. The land is too green, you can feel the wind in your face. You see the birds in the sky, the waters in the valley. You can feel the perfect smile. You can see the crystals in the water. You can see the highest mountain. Reach out, you go feel them. If you reach out, you go touch them. Africa, yeah. The love and peace is so exotic. It's so exotic, yeah. Let me take you to Africa, Mama. Mama Africa, Mama Africa, yeah. Mama Africa, Africa.
Welcome back to the show. We are still having some difficulties getting our guests into the studio, but we will start the show. Once we get him in, we will bring him live to the program. Like I mentioned, thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Wherever you are, please let us know in the chat section. Let us know your location. There is I think there are some people joining us live through YouTube. Welcome and thank you for joining us, as well as Facebook. Thank you for joining us as well. Please let us know in the chat section where you're joining us from, your location, and your location, and then the city specifically probably will be very good. Will be good to know that. Joseph, if you can hear me, you have to refresh and re-enter the studio. When you got in first, there were some issues there with you joining live. So you have to refresh your link and then re-enter. If you can hear me, Joseph. as mentioned, please let us know where you're joining us from with your location. And then, you know, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead with the show while I wait for him. If you're here for the first time, is this is your first time joining us on this show, this is the Africa Desk. This is a platform, like I mentioned earlier on in the intro, that is built for you. This space is built for you and no one else. It's not built for governments. This is not a show that is sponsored or is built by government or for government. It's not for donors, not any foreign interest. It's just for you, the African citizen, whether you are in Monrovia, Dubai, sitting in New York, or any city around the world, Australia. This show is for you. This is the second part of the series I call the legacy segment. It's four parts in order of importance. Last week, I talked to you about the environment that built me or created the platform for me to be who I eventually became. This week, we're going to be talking about the environment we grew together, where we help to impact other people's careers by mentoring them, by showing them the way and paving the way better for them. Thank you so much, Sylvester. Thank you for joining us from Australia. It's good to have you. Great to see you too, Mr. Nchema from the Middle East. Welcome to the show. He's joining us live from Dubai. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are joining us from anywhere around the world, please let us know in the comment section. And like I was saying earlier on, last week we talked about the media landscape in Liberia. That's where we started. This week we're talking about where we transitioned into a refugee camp. This is the second part series of four, and the series is going to run through May 9th, and then we will bring that series or segment to an end and begin something new. And I decided to do the series because it's my love letter to the people who built me, who built with me, and who I had the privilege of helping build. 4 Saturdays, 4 chapters, one thread, you know. But before I begin the show in earnest, as soon as my guests join me, let me highlight something significant to all the audience right now, whether you are watching us live or you are watching us later on, that we come on the air in the middle of a truly historic stretch of our continent's calendar. Zimbabwe, which is one of the 54 countries on the continent, just marked 46 years of independence last Saturday. Senegal celebrated earlier this month as well. And in just 2 days, on April 27th, Togo, Sierra Leone, and South Africa will raise their flags in honor of freedom. From Dakar to Harare to Pretoria, April is the month of African liberation. And today on this show, we honor every one of these countries. Thank you. And now back to the show. We would like to welcome all the viewers around the world. Wherever you're joining us, let us know where you are joining us from. We already have two viewers in the section, in the comment section. Okay, yes, I can let my guest in now. I think he's ready. Joseph, um, I think you are live on the show. If you can, I don't see your camera on, but you are live. You can hear me. I see you on the show. You are live on the show. Please uh, put your camera on if you are able to. There you go. Yes, I see you. I see you, Mr. Swen. I see you. Your video is a little blurry. If you could say a word too, maybe say hello. If you know, if I so that I can be able to hear you, because right now I do not hear you. Joseph, please go ahead and say a word too. Your audio is not coming through, Joseph. I see you. You are live, but I do not hear you at all. You know, I do not hear you in the audience. Those who are in the audience, if you can hear Joseph, please chat in the room. Please chat. Please let us know in the chat that yes, we were hearing him. If you are not hearing him, just let us know that you are not hearing him, please. Oh, I think he's gone off again. Joe, just refresh the link or whatever media you're using. Refresh that and then come back in. It should be able to come and we hear you. We were able to see you, but we couldn't hear you at all, Joseph. Okay, so I do not want to keep entertaining you, but I just need to play maybe a little bit more of music here, and then we can definitely continue with this show.
The intricate weaving of disparate voices into a singular, harmonious existence, exploring how individual differences create a stronger collective. A woven tapestry, a resonance, yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the show. We are still trying to get our guests in the studio. Early on, he appeared, but his audio was a little. There were issues with his audio, so he couldn't come through. Couldn't hear him. I think he's still trying to get through here, which is important. It's great for us to be able to hear him, not just see him, but hear him, so that we can learn from him, especially for the younger audience who will be watching this later or watching this live, or for even you who are watching this, you who have brothers and sisters or friends, living on the continent of Africa or living anywhere around the world who want to learn a thing or two from Joseph, from his experience, working in the refugee camp with me. Like I mentioned, this is the second series of four that are planned, and I call this one the ones I trained, from the refugee camp to the government house, the ripple effect of journalism mentorship in displacement contexts. So this is really important for us, for our children, for our children's children, who's going to be coming after us. And so while I wait for Joseph, he's going to be coming, but I thought I'd give you, maybe let me share something briefly while he's trying to get in here. Once I see him in the queue, I'll let him in, but I'm going to share something here for you to watch a little bit, and then we can continue with this show. I don't know how this is going to look like, but I'm going to share this. Okay.
At first glance, this may seem like any small Ghanaian town. Busy shops and stores, children in the street, people playing football. But although this is Ghana, these are not Ghanaians. This is the Bujumburam Liberia refugee camp, a ramshackle community just outside Accra, home to over 40,000 Liberians who fled during the country's last 15 years of civil war. It is also home to The Vision, a small newspaper published monthly in the community by a remarkable group of journalists, remarkable considering the cost, efforts, and skills involved in publishing a newspaper in a place where it is challenging enough just to live. The paper, founded 2 years ago by Semantics King Jr. and Joseph Cephas and staffed by a dedicated group of journalists, reports on happenings in the camp, and it is a crucial source of information for the displaced Liberians, keeping them informed on developments in the country it is hoped they might soon return to. The paper's founder and editor, Semantics King Jr., spoke on the importance of the publication to the people of the camp.
During stories that the Vision began writing about, it was like sensitizing refugees that look, you are a refugee, that's a fact, but you are not a disabled person. You need to use the very natural abilities that God gave you to make sure that people see what you can do.
The paper, with its strong focus on human rights issues, is also attracting the attention of international human rights groups like Amnesty International, who believes the media plays a vital role in the awareness and action of global injustice that can lead to camps like Bujumbura.
If today we have a newspaper which is redirecting all its core competence and energies towards the realization of human rights, I think it is very heartwarming. It is more so because it has been initiated by people whose very human rights have been violated to the height that it's ever possible, to an extent that they have had to fly all the way to a place called Bujumbura.
And as Liberia progresses with its rebuilding, it is hoped that with thousands of refugees, the paper too will soon take up residence in Liberia to become a positive daily voice for a country that has been crying for far too long.
Thank you. And thank you and welcome back to our show. Sorry about that. So you saw a part of what Joseph and I are going to be talking about today. That is what we were doing on the refugee camp. It was a very difficult environment for people who fled their homes in Liberia during the civil war that started in 1989, and the refugee camp was established in 1991, I believe, and it became host to thousands and thousands of Liberian refugees. By all unofficial estimates, it was believed that between 40,000 to 45 to 50,000 Liberia's war victims resided at the refugee camp at some point in Ghana. That is a huge population of people. I think at the time that was the largest Liberian population outside of Liberia, I believe. When you take into consideration that number of people, and then you look at what was happening in Liberia, and then you think about their daily lives, the children, the environment they're living into, it it makes you wonder really what was going on and how can a group of people be this displaced because of people's differences, because of people's views and ideas of how to lead Liberia. It was challenging. It was difficult for them, so much so that these were some of the headlines you could see in some papers. In the refugee camp, we are dying slowly. This is what the refugees were going through. Very difficult for them. As difficult as that was, that this place became a home for these refugees. This is where they call home. And they were living there, having their children with them, you know, and thinking, is it possible to have them go to school, primary, secondary, even college education? Was that possible for their children? This was a difficult time for them. Yet, even with the difficulties, we were able to establish something as unique as this. to be able to advocate for the rights of the people whose human rights have been violated, as you heard from the then director of Amnesty International in Ghana. So it was a difficult time, but we were able to put this together, and bring news and information to not just the Liberian population, but even non-Liberians who were living in Ghana, to be able to see what was happening on the refugee camp. And reporting by this newspaper was very crucial. There were young Liberian men who were arrested one time or another during the period they lived in Ghana. And the reporting by this paper resulted in the government releasing some of these young men who were arrested. Reporting from this paper actually led to several significant changes on the refugee camp as well. It opened doors to opportunity for other Liberians to be able to travel to something the UNHCR called third country of asylum, meaning since the Ghanaian government could not integrate all of the refugees for whatever reasons they had, there was a possibility for some of these refugees to be integrated into different societies by going into third countries of asylum, which included some, opening opportunities for some to travel to the United States as refugees, opening opportunities for some to go to Australia, for some to go to Ghana, for some to go to other European or Western nations that were accepting Liberian refugees at the time because they were experiencing difficult circumstances during the period. And so it was very hard. It was difficult for them. I am going to check in again to see if my guest is in the studio there. Sorry. He is probably not there yet. Yep. But this is what is happening. This was what was happening on the refugee camp. And so you see and realize that it was a home, it was a place many Liberians call home. For all these years they lived there. I show you another angle here. This is some of the leaders of the Liberian community. And this event, actually, sorry for the light reflecting on the head of that individual. I think there's Dan Brown. Dan Brown used to work for the Liberia Broadcasting System in Liberia, I think just before the wars. I think that's his face that has been covered there with that light. And then there is in the picture there is Pastor, I think, Bade. He was one of the Liberian pastors in the refugee camp. And then there is, I think the next person there is Mr. Sambula or something like that. I may not remember all these names now, but I think that's Mr. Sambula. And then after that is the director of Amnesty International office in Accra. And then after him is a Canadian journalist who actually went to the refugee camp to volunteer with us. He's the one there. He was the one earlier on holding the newspaper there in his hand. He was making a remark and he was just displaying that. And this is the environment we were living in at the time, and this is what we were doing. And I'm going to show you a different angle. Although Joseph is not in this picture, but there's another young journalist we were training who was accompanying us in some of the reports we took, as well as some of the volunteers who came from the United Kingdom who accompanied us in some of the stories we were doing. I'm going to show you that one here. You can see, that's another young journalist, Robert Kerr. He is. I know he's not in the show today, but he's one of those. And then there are two other volunteers there from the United Kingdom who were there, and that's me in the middle there. On the far right, taking down some notes when we were interviewing this lady about the experiences they were having on the refugee camp. So these were some of the things that we were doing in the refugee camp. And the question perhaps might be from some people, so well, okay, then what happened to the camp? Well, the camp is still there. It is still there as we speak. This happens to be one of the buildings on the camp. Is the I think the United Methodist Church. This is where some of the refugees who were Methodists used to go to church, and they used to associate themselves with this building, and they know what it means, what significance that brought to some of them. And obviously, just before we came live, Joseph actually sent me information about currently what is happening on the camp. So, like I mentioned, there were a group of Liberians that were qualified for them to travel to third countries of asylums, and then there were others who were not qualified, and then they needed to be reintegrated, integrated into the Ghanaian society. And then there's another leg of the whole process called resettlement, not resettlement, resettlement or returning rather, returning home to Liberia. So there were others who returned to Liberia, and Joseph happens to be one of those who went back to Liberia. But then there are still others who were not qualified to travel to other countries for asylum. They are not willing to go back to Liberia for whatever reasons they may have. And then there were others who, they still decided to remain on the refugee camp up to this time. They're still living there. And then the question then became integration. Can we integrate them into the Ghanaian society? Will they be willing, to be here? And the news that was sent to me was this: indirect integration for Liberian refugees begins in Ghana, whatever that means. So there are others who have decided they will stay in Ghana so that they can live there now forever and perhaps even take on Ghanaian citizenship. So this is the latest we are getting from the refugee camp. And yes, people are still living on the refugee camp at this time. It is still ongoing. There's no question about it. So this is what happened on at the refugee camp at the time. And so I am checking. Joseph is not in the studio yet. Joseph, I don't know what is happening with your connection, but maybe I'm going to open the lines for the audience to participate. If you are willing to participate as an audience, I'll open that line up later. Not right now. I'll let you know when that time comes. But this is what was happening in the refugee camp, and so just let us know again where you're watching us from, and then we can highlight that. If you have a comment, if you have a question, Joseph was in the lobby. I think I accepted that, Joseph. I don't see you. Okay, let me see there. Let Joseph in. Yep. I just let you in, but I don't see you either, Joseph. Yeah, sorry guys. This is technology, and this is what happens when technology doesn't agree with you or doesn't want. Oh, I lost him again. Yeah, he's been trying to come through in our lobby, but there are some difficulties there. So anyway, this is the Bujumbura Liberian refugee camp, and as I was showing you pictures of some of the volunteers, Joseph happens to be one of those. I just wanted us to have some conversations about his experience in the camp there, just so that those who are watching now or those who will be watching later can learn a thing or two from that experience. But unfortunately, we are having difficulties with getting Joseph into the live, and so we are going to take a break a brief musical break. We are not going anywhere. We're just trying to um, um, see what is happening there. Let me see. You know.
We need one another. We need one another for sure. In this life, no one is an island, you know for sure. Mutually, everything go fall in place. Mutually, there will go be a better place. I say mutually, everybody go happy, happy. When I depend on you, you depend on me now. So we go, they go. No be say I get today, I go low down on you. Tomorrow get better, life not turn by turn. Make I give a helping hand, never mind where you come from. Like the fingers of one hand, we need one another. Hey, I depend on you, you depend on me too. I see the light in you, you see the light in me too. That's how it's supposed to be, the matter that one so. That's how it's supposed to be, this world goes sweet while light alive. Life, we need one another. In this life, no one is an island, you know for sure. Mutually, everything go fall in place. Mutually, there will go be a better place. I say mutually, everybody go happy, happy. When I depend on you, you depend on me now. So we go, they go. See, yo kuri rugo senekre. Ama yene kere yenuka. Eto ida ikon iforokai. Kwem tof yo hosi kwere dem. Yo kuri rugo senekre. Ama yene kere yenuka. Eto ida ikon iforokai. Kwem yo hosi kwere dem. I got a role to play. I don't want to sit on the loco. The more I do, the more I learn to make the world a better place. By what I do and what I say, there's no be time to take complain. No. I play my part, you play your part, but we need one another. We need one another. In this life, no one is an island, you know for sure. Yeah. Mutually, everything go fall in place. Mutually, there will go be a better place. I say mutually, everybody go happy, happy. When I depend on you, you depend on me now. So we go, they go.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to our show. Again, we have been having some technical issues with our guests. We've tried to bring him in twice. For every time, it didn't really work well. But again, this is the beauty of technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it presents challenges for you. So you have to be able to adapt to the circumstances as they come. And so Joseph is one of the young journalists that work with us on the refugee camp that I mentioned early on in the show, and he is supposed to be on the show talking to us right now about his experience, about the Vision newspaper. You've seen the Vision newspaper in the series that I just in the pictures and commentary that I made earlier on. Give us let us know in the chat room where you are joining us from. I see others joining, and then so let us know which area of the world you are currently living and you're joining us from. We just want to be able to know and tell you thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the show, and we appreciate you for joining us. We really do appreciate you. So let us know in the comment section. Again, Joseph, if you cannot find a way to get through using the studio technology, if there is any other way you can come through, let me know um, in the section there. Sorry, um, audience, we are having some technical difficulties here, which is why I'm trying to use various means to get Joseph on the show, but apparently he is not able to come through. So I am going to go back to what I was saying. We met Joseph. We met with each other on the refugee camp that I mentioned. It was a camp that was a place, a home. Many of us call a place that many of us call home. We lived there for the better part of our lives, living in exile before transitioning into other parts of the world. For instance, some going to Canada, going to Australia, some to the United Kingdom, others here to the United States. This was our home at the time, and we had, barely, anything at all to depend on, to live on, and call home other than that one. And I showed you some of the pictures of what we were doing in the refugee camp, and I played you a video earlier on what one of the local televisions did for us, because that was the second anniversary of our existence as an organization, as a newspaper. So they came down to the camp. The refugee camp is located anywhere between 40 to, I think, 45 miles away from the Ghanaian capital, Accra, and so it's a little distance. So these guys drove from the city proper and then came to the refugee camp to help us observe and celebrate with us our second anniversary. We had just established the newspaper, and the reason for establishing this newspaper, for those of you who do not know and who were not on the show I think last week, the reason was very simple. It was to inform and educate not just the Liberian community living in Ghana, but non-Liberian communities as well. And the reason was to inform them about what the Liberian refugees were going through and what that means for a population of harmless, helpless group of Liberians, women, children, and men. There were many living there, no opportunities for advancements. The refugee camp had a senior high school, and then later on, I think there was another private high school that was established. And so Liberians were very innovative, trying to find solutions to their problem, since, in fact, the UNHCR, which is the UN Agency for Refugees, as well as the Ghanaian government, were providing assistance somewhat, but it was not apparently to the level acceptable to the refugees. So they were very innovative. Some established, business centers. They had booths where they could make calls to the United States or across in Ghana or elsewhere. Some, there was a soccer pitch that Liberians used to go to play soccer. And then there were little businesses around, like clinics here. And I think there were internet cafes as well on the refugee camp, because for many of the Liberians who were living on the refugee camp at the time, somewhat they had either friends who were living abroad or they had relatives who were living abroad. And so some of these relatives provided some sort of financial support for some of them, for some of their relatives back in Ghana. And some of these refugees have friends overseas who somehow were able to provide them support, whether it was financial or otherwise. And so some Liberians use, those opportunities to do something for themselves, establish businesses, maybe even, go to school and things like those. But life itself was difficult. It was a challenge to be a refugee in a refugee camp where there was no electricity and there's no water, so you had to go and fend for water for yourself. There were no toilets. There were no toilets establishments, so for people to be able to defecate or use the bathroom, they had to go and use the bush and things like those. So it was a difficult environment for these people to live in, and yet they survived. We survived, okay, because I lived there too. We survived, and we are here today because of the resilience we had, because of the sheer determination, because of the sheer resolve that despite these circumstances, like I mentioned in a video I played earlier on in the interview that was granted me, despite these circumstances, it didn't mean that because you are a refugee that it means you do not have any ability to make an impact or make a difference. We were engaged in making an impact. We were doing that with or without any support from anywhere. We were doing that. And so this is what I want to also talk about today with Joseph, to ask him what he experienced, what he went through, and how that experience paved the way for him to be within the hierarchy of the Liberian government responsible for providing information and communication to Liberian citizens in Monrovia, Liberia, and across the country, Liberia. But technology says otherwise, and so it has been a challenge for us to get him into the studio live, and we will continue to make all efforts to get him through. But if we cannot get him, well, the show has to go on, and so we would have loved to hear his experience. We would have loved for you to even ask him questions, but since we don't have him available at the moment, I'm going to open the line a little bit here and say I'm going to send a link out to the audience. If you are able to join in as an audience to ask a question, maybe, or maybe comment, if you have experienced anything like that, I'm going to drop the link in the comment section. Click on that link and let's see how this works. When you click on that link as an audience member, I will bring you into the show. You will be live and we can interact. So there is a link I have sent you. Yes, I have sent you a link in the comment section. Click on that link if you are willing to participate in a live discussion, since we are still trying our efforts to get our studio guests live to be able to answer those questions. So click on that link, and it should be able to bring you live into the show. Click on that link if you want to participate. Again, it is not mandatory. It's I'm just asking if you want to participate. If you want to ask question on the show, maybe even me, maybe you want to ask me a question, you can go ahead and ask me a question and I can answer that. Since we do not have Joseph yet, if you want to participate, you want to ask a question, whether about what you heard, the video you've seen, or even regarding the show itself, if you have a question to ask, please go ahead and click on that link and I'll bring you into the show live, and then you can ask a question, you can participate. I just send you a link. If you're willing to, it is not mandatory. You are not required to, but if you're willing to participate in the live discussion about the discussions we're having about Bujumbura, the experience we had there, please feel free. Click on that link and follow whatever instructions you see on the link, and it will bring you into the studio and you can ask your question. I'm still experimenting with this technology, and so please forgive me. If you click on it, it's going to bring you in. I think you may have a minute or so to actually ask your question live or participate. So please go ahead and click on that link. If you are willing to, if you feel the need, if you maybe you're sitting behind your screen, on your phone, on your computer, and you're thinking, hey, may I have a question? May I have a comment I want to make? Please go ahead. Okay, go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead and make your comment. And I'm going to continue to do that while I wait for that and see if somebody is going to join me for this discussion. Let me see if I could play you a little bit of a music here, um, and see. Once I get someone on, in there, we can.
Beauty, everything so exotic. You need to see my baby so exotic. Everything she do so interesting. I never can take my mind off her. Mama Africa, Mama Africa. Let me take you to Togo, Ghana, Ethiopia, Uganda, Nigeria. Oh Nigeria, oh Mama Africa, yeah. The love and peace is so exotic. It's so exotic. Yeah. Let me take you to Africa, Mama. Mama Africa. Mama Africa. Yeah. Mama Africa. Africa. Cause it's not beauty, my baby gets her. Lando, they get her. The land is so green. The land is too green. You can feel the wind in your face. You see the birds in the sky, the waters in the valley. You can feel the perfect smile. You can see the crystals in the water. You can see the highest mountain. Reach that you go feel 'em. If you reach that you go touch 'em. Africa, yeah. The love and peace is so exotic. It's so exotic, yeah. Let me take you to Africa, Mama. Mama Africa. Mama Africa, yeah. Mama Africa. Africa. Cause it's not
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, take me to Africa. I would love to go there. I want to go to Africa. Welcome back to the show. It appears that we may not be able to have Joseph join us, unfortunately, because we have 8 minutes to go. Even at that, I think we are grateful for the opportunity to, talk to you today. Thank you for being in the audience. If you are just joining us, let us know where you're joining us from, which city or country you're joining us from, and let us know in the comment, what you think. If you have questions for me, please go ahead and ask those questions. If you would like to participate, even for the next 7 minutes, maybe you want to appear on the show and ask a question, please go ahead and click on that link. Once you click on the link, it is going to bring you live and you can ask your question. You don't be afraid. It's nothing, it doesn't do anything to anyone. Just click on the link. It's going to bring you in live and then you can ask a question, or maybe we can have a conversation for the next 7 minutes. And so this is the Liberian refugee camp in Ghana. It is an environment that made us. It's an environment that prepared us. It is an environment that we saw Joseph Swen, who was on the call. I mean, coming in and then going out. Unfortunately, it wasn't stabilized for him to stay alive on the show, but it's an environment that prepared him. Joseph right now is the head of communications and public relations at the Liberia Civil Service Agency. And he was going to talk to us a little bit briefly about that agency, what it does. But unfortunately, he's not on the show. So I would like to say thanks to each and every one of you for joining us. But just before I let you go, since it appears that I don't have anyone joining me to have a conversation, just before I let you go, I want to bring Just, a reminder to you that unfortunately today we didn't have Joseph on hand because of technical issues. We wanted to see how he wrapped this up for us. We had several questions for him, but it didn't happen that way. We planned it and then it didn't happen that way. Unfortunately, these are circumstances that happen at times, and you have to be ready to be available. Every one of you watching me, I say thank you. This is what the legacy segment is all about. It doesn't involve any famous names, right? Real ripples, talking about the people who shaped me, the people who I helped shape, and the people who grew together with me. And so today, I was supposed to be discussing with Joseph the ones that I helped grow, the one I trained, the one we worked together. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Next Saturday, okay, and this is also confirmed, next Saturday will be chapter 3 of the show, or series 3 of the show. And I titled this one, The Ones I Travel With. I will be bringing on the show Mamadou Chor. He's a veteran Senegalese journalist who was my colleague and now became my brother. He was with me in the 2006 World Press Institute Journalism Fellowship to come to the United States. We traveled across American newsrooms together. And what came out of that fellowship shaped both us in ways we did not even anticipate. If today's conversation meant anything to you, even though Joseph wasn't able to join us, but just the little highlights I give you, if it means anything to you and you're watching this show, whether live right now or later on when you have the chance, I'm asking you to do 4 things for us. If you have not already done these, number 1, when you go to YouTube, our channel there is at the Africa Desk Live. You can subscribe to that channel on YouTube because we are building a community and we want the community to build together with us. That's one thing that you could do. The second thing is that you can follow the Africa Desk Live here on Facebook if you have not already begun to do so. The third thing you can do is you share this live with one young person who needs to hear about the experiences we had on the camp or about Africa as a whole. That's the third thing. And then the final thing, if you're able to, drop a comment in here and let me know what you think. What is it that you are looking forward to? What questions you may have for our guest that is coming up next week, Saturday. Let us know, and we would love to hear from you. Unfortunately, we couldn't get our guest live into the studio, but it has been me, your host, Emeritus King, and this was the Legacy segment, Chapter 2. We'll see you next Saturday, the same time, the same page, the same channel. And so, whatever thing you are going to be doing for the rest of the weekend and enter into next week, please know that we care about you, and we all want to be able to build a better Africa where our children, our children's children can have a place called home that they can look out to, because it's a great continent. It's a continent that is very rich in resources, and it has one of the youngest population on the planet. And yet our leaders, they disappoint us every single day. So this show is for you. It's not for any other organization or any other individual. It's not sponsored by anyone. We do not deal with that. We have our code of ethics. We have our expectations of what will be done and what will not be done. So thank you so much. It has been me, Semantics.
Ooh, Africa. We choose the path of permanence to build a high fidelity inheritance, capturing every voice, a future archive, so the legacy of the Africa Desk can thrive.